There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder.
Welcome to Community Forum. Today is July 21st, 2022, and my name is Priscilla Almquist-Olsen, your host. It is with great pleasure that I welcome Liana Gorman to our show today. She is the director of the Easton Collaborative Theater, and we're going to learn all about that today, and it's such a delight to have you.
Oh, I thank you so very much for having me on, Priscilla. I appreciate this opportunity to speak about our program and share it with the community that we like to serve.
Great, because I must tell you that I didn't know about you until recently. So it is important, and one of the missions, naturally, of ECAT is to discover programs and share them with our Easton viewers. So tell me, what exactly is the Easton Collaborative Theater?
So Easton Collaborative Theater used to be Easton Children's Theater, and it was founded by Mary Gray. She did it for over 25 years. I was a part of the program when I was a child, as was my sister, and I absolutely loved being in the theater program. It was a children's theater program, and I loved putting on her shows. She wrote all of the shows herself. She is quite talented. And I was very lucky to be a part of it. And theater and music were always a part of my life that I really loved and enjoyed. It was a huge passion of mine. And I grew up.
Well, you know what? Now I know who you are, because I knew the Children's Theater.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so you've just gotten a new name.
Yes.
Now, there must be a reason for that. What is it?
So when she reached out to me, Mary was looking to retire. She had been doing it for a very long time. She remembered myself and my sister and my family, and she reached out to me to see if I was interested in taking over as director. I was thrilled, and I have loved every second of it. My thought for changing the C word from children's to collaborative is I was afraid too many people were thinking children's theater as really young. You know, we start allowing children to join our group by 3rd grade. So when they're 8 years old, they're allowed to join. But it's not just children. We have our preteens, we have some teenagers, and I didn't want them to feel excluded or left out. Also, this whole program really wouldn't be possible. We wouldn't be able to do what we do if it wasn't for the parents, for the community, for the volunteers. It really is a very large collaborative effort, and I wanted to emphasize that. So keeping the ECT acronym so that we're still from our roots and we're still the same group, but changing that word, just that middle word, just a little bit to really more emphasize more what we're about and gearing away from the children's portion.
Good. What a wonderful idea.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Because it always sounded to me like they were plays for children and their grandparents. Anyway, it's such a pleasure to have you. So what is on the agenda now? What can the public look forward to?
Well, this fall, actually, we have auditions in the beginning of September. We will be doing Frozen Junior.
Oh my.
So we are very excited. The kids are beyond excited. Our spring show we just did was Peter Pan, and it was dress rehearsal week, and they're already singing Frozen songs, and I was like, guys, we haven't even finished this show yet. And they were very excited. They were singing about snowmen and Let It Go, and everyone is very excited.
Sure, and that is going to be a real draw.
Yes, it will. I'm very excited. The kids are excited. The parents are excited.
Well, the
so
music
it's going
is
to be
wonderful.
Great. Yes.
Beautiful music. My
Gorgeous.
6-year-old granddaughter she watches Frozen all the time, and she dances to it when they're dancing. I mean, she's, everything. And then she has Frozen nightgowns, Frozen jerseys, Frozen.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and I think she's even got, let's see, what are the names again?
Elsa and Anna.
Yes, she's got those dolls. And
that's great. What I really like about the show, as opposed to the movie's fabulous, don't get me wrong, but what I'm really looking forward to, I think, working with the show, is that there are some parts, like there is a snow chorus, so it's these characters and they sing with Elsa, and they're also a summer chorus with Olaf, so it's like the season kind of comes to life. We can showcase some of our dancers and really have some extra parts in there. And Oaken is one of my favorite parts of the movie. He has like 3 lines, but he's known for his yoo-hoo, welcome to my, big summer blowout. And him and his family have a whole song.
Yeah.
And it just makes me so happy to be able to showcase these parts that I loved so much from the animated film that have bigger roles and provide alternate opportunities for more of our kids to participate in the show.
Well, did you write the show? Did somebody else write it, or is it something you purchased?
It is something I purchased. I've been, the past few shows I've purchased. Last fall we did Elf Jr. The spring we did Peter Pan. Now we're doing Frozen Jr. Right now we've been going through some Broadway Junior performances.
Okay.
Because they are well known, because they're already well put together and organized. They're bringing in more of our clientele. We're trying to rebuild, especially after the pandemic. They're more well known to bring in more audiences. Some people know the songs.
Right.
And so it brings excitement.
Yes, and it's a wonderful story.
Yes.
Too. So it has a happy ending, but it has its ups and downs and conflicts and so forth. But it's a feel-good show.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm very much looking forward to it.
So how many students do you have involved at this time?
Oh, we have a lot. Well, if I had to guess, we're probably around the 80 to 90 student range. We have 2 casts. So I have so many, for my shows, I split them up into 2 casts. We have one cast that performs on, that rehearses on Tuesdays, and one cast that rehearses on Wednesdays. So that each role has 2 people that are playing it. And when we have our show, the Tuesday cast does the performances on Friday night and Saturday afternoon, and the Wednesday cast does the performances on Saturday night and Sunday afternoon. So that way we can get more students and more people involved in our shows. So we have 2 casts that I'm working with.
My goodness, that is magnificent.
It really is.
Wow.
I'm very lucky. The best part, I think, about this program, the part that I pride myself on and I work really hard at, is the inclusivity of the program. I have lots of participants, lots of families with all different kinds of abilities, different physical abilities, different mental abilities. I have students who have learning disabilities. I have students who have Tourette's, who might have some anger issues, who have attention deficit disorder. I have students that come from all different kinds of backgrounds, and hearing some of the stories these parents have had to share about trying to find something, some program, some group that their kids can be a part of, that they're not shunned or they're not kicked out of because people don't know what's going on or how to work with them or how to deal with those issues. I'm a teacher in my day job, and I am very familiar with all of those different abilities, and so I make it a point to make sure that everyone is welcome and to make accommodations as necessary, and to have this home for people who might not have one elsewhere. And hearing those stories from those parents and those families is really what makes it worth it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you're the perfect person for this job.
Thank you. I like to think so. I absolutely love it.
But to have 2 casts,
Yes.
it's like having 2 productions going on at the same time.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
The cast can be very different.
Yes. Yeah. And then you have support from parents, I assume.
I do, yes. Parent participation and volunteering is necessary. It's required for the children to be a part of our program, especially since our fees are so low compared to everywhere else. We're a nonprofit. Our fees are very low. We welcome all, but we need the parents and we rely on the parents. So the parents sign up for different committees, at the beginning of the show. They might be on refreshments committee for the refreshment stand at intermission, or they might be on backstage committee and help with props and sets, or they might be on the costume committee or the playbill committee. We split everything up into pieces, so if everyone, many hands makes light work.
Right.
If everyone works a little bit towards this, we can keep this program that so many families have come to love and enjoy, that I absolutely adore, and we keep it affordable and nonprofit and able to serve Easton and some surrounding towns in our community.
Well, it's wonderful. It sounds as if you're really serving the needs, too, of some of these children whose needs aren't always met in the public school.
I try. I do. I'm very sympathetic to students and children who might not get what they need elsewhere. I've heard, families being turned away from different troops or different sports teams or dance classes, or because the people in charge or the coaches or the leaders don't have the knowledge, don't have the skills, don't have the training, don't have the experience of how to deal with some of the abilities and some of the differences in those children. Where I have that knowledge and experience and ability, I am always willing to work with families in whatever way possible, and that's what makes it really special for me.
That's great. And do you have a sufficient number of carpenters?
We have a couple. And then we have some, hobbyists.
Oh, yeah.
And they are absolutely fantastic, and we definitely need them.
And where do you hold these productions?
Currently, we are renting, the Easton Middle School is allowing us to rent space there, so we are able to hold our rehearsals there, and we are able to hold our performances there as well. So that's where we're currently working out of.
Oh, that's great. And it's a lovely studio. It's not too big, it's not too little.
It's perfect.
It's perfect. And it's very intimate, the
Yes.
stage and the audience, Very
It's
good.
wonderful.
Now, where are you a teacher?
I'm currently in between teaching gigs as of this summer, but I have taught I'm from Brockton. I have taught in Brockton, I have taught in Fall River, I have taught in Sharon. Hoping to make it back to Brockton in the community that I was raised in the school system. I had to leave years ago because of budget reasons, so I'm hoping to that's what I've been trying to get back in there.
Good.
But yes.
Great. My dad grew up in Brockton.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you have a lot of people in Easton who have Brockton connections. Yeah. Well, good luck to you on that.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, do you have what offerings are you contemplating in the future?
For shows?
Yes.
Oh, I have a whole list of shows on my list that trying to figure out based on, costumes and sets and logistics, but also what kids we have and what talent, and do we have more males, female characters that we can put people in, or what we're working with, the size of the cast. Currently, in the hopefully next couple years, I'm thinking we might do Music Man Junior. I'm thinking we might do, I'm looking at Into the Woods possibly. I'm looking at Shrek possibly.
Oh, Shrek would be one.
Oh, yes. No, there are quite a few.
Yeah.
There's Annie was definitely an option.
Yes.
So we're looking into quite a few, and I have a couple on the back burner, and depending on how things work out and the people we're working with and the resources we're able to have, that can also help guide our decision.
Sure, because it's the personnel. I mean, if you're going to do Annie, you might have to get a wig, right? A redheaded, or you might have a redhead.
Exactly.
A natural redhead. Yeah, wonderful. So what's your long-term vision?
I like where we're headed. Long term, I would love for us to get our own space. I would love to find a building and that can have our own space that we can keep, have storage and keep costumes and props and sets. Right now, we don't have lots of storage, and where we're using another school, we don't really have space there, so we end up having to rent things or borrow things from people's homes. When we did Elf Junior, I think everyone pitched in one of their Christmas trees and we gave them all back. Everyone needed them back. Thank goodness it ended before Christmas. But it would be nice to have a space so that we can build up costumes that can have multi-purposes and sets and props and things that we don't have to keep starting over almost and finding things. It would be nice to have our own space so we don't have to share time necessarily with other groups and with the school and with whoever. we could rehearse at
Yeah.
whatever times and have our shows there and really have a place to call our home. I would love that. I would love to get some more people in the community involved. Right now, a lot of our volunteers are parents, which is great, and we need the parent volunteers. But then once their child gets disinterested or older or gets involved in something else, and we lose some really great people that could be helping us and giving us resources, I would love to get some more community people involved who might be a little more long-term, I suppose.
Do you have a board of directors?
Yes, we do have a board of directors.
Okay.
And they're absolutely fabulous. We actually just had nominations and voting in. People who were leaving, it was the time in our bylaws to switch over and to vote for members and vote for people to take new roles. So we're working with a team of half of them have been there, half of them are new, people are changing positions, and I'm feeling really great about the team that we have now.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
What about grants? Have you been writing grants? Has anyone written a grant or connected with the Cultural Council?
I think there are a couple people on the board who do work in, they all have different positions and things, who do work more on the financial side of things and trying to find grants and work with different pieces. I'm not exactly sure on some of those specifics, but I do know it's in our purview. And we will continue to look for those opportunities moving forward, especially being nonprofit and wanting to have all of these things. And the show pieces are getting, expensive when we have to get certain technologies and sound systems and lights, and all that stuff can get expensive too. But we don't want to raise the fees too much for the families. Everyone's having a hard time still. So we're trying to keep it as fair as possible. Yeah,
I mean, the Massachusetts Cultural Council would be a source of funding for you.
Oh, great. Massachusetts Cultural Council.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
And every town has one. We have one in town.
Okay. I will double check with the board, make sure if we haven't, we will look into that. Thank you for that information.
Yeah. And also, the Easton, I'm on the board of the Easton Shoveltown Cultural District.
Okay.
And that's a fairly new organization, but both that organization and the Cultural Council are in Easton. So,
oh wow, that's great.
And they can certainly lead you in the right directions too. So,
oh, that would be fabulous.
yeah, and there are other places in town that you might want to consider too. But you've got because you might be able to find places that won't charge you rent.
Right.
So the school does charge you rent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. And we're hoping too, actually, I know Southeastern Regional Technical High School just had a brand new auditorium put on.
Yes.
So we were going to possibly reach out to them to see if we could work something out. But also, I think I would really love to utilize their students.
Right.
Give them some volunteer time and some experience. We could always use people working backstage and lights and sound, hair, makeup, costumes. And I think it would be really great to get some other youths in the community that are interested and in school for those things involved in our program as well.
I think that's a great idea because that school teaches them all kinds of skills that you need: carpentry, technology, lighting.
It's like our one-stop shop. They have everything I need there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's something to think about and to act upon. Yeah.
Yes, that would be great. I would love for that to happen.
Yeah. Well, we hope that those of you who are listening, that you will talk to your children and your grandchildren about this program. And if they're interested, how can they contact you?
Oh, so they can contact, we have a website. And we have a Facebook, ECT, Easton Collaborative Theater, and all of our contact information is on there as well. And our emails are out there. We have on all of our websites and our Facebook and our Instagram, all of our contact information. Reach out to anybody and we will get back to you.
Good, and we will post those links at the end of this show for people to record and be sure to get their kids or their neighbors' kids and their grandkids and other people involved. One last question, do you have an age limit on the people that...
We do not have an age limit. So we normally, what we'll accept is, like I said, 8-year-olds. Once they're going into 3rd grade, they're allowed to join. Most of our students tend to trickle off middle school, beginning of high school, simply because they get busy with other things and involved in other things. But we do have people who have stayed all through high school. And once they're out of high school, they tend to stay more based on the logistic and technical side of things. So they might be junior directors, or they might work backstage, or there's always opportunities for that as well.
Now, do you ever engage adults in your plays?
We have not. It is something we have started to think about and where that might take us and how that might work. But up to this point, we have not yet. But it's on our purview as well. It's
yes,
looking forward.
Because I think that would attract more participation.
Yes.
Whether involved in the organization itself or just coming to be spectators at the performances.
Oh, sure. Definitely.
You get a wider audience, maybe.
Right.
So, because I know there are plays that do incorporate children and adults. Yeah. So.
Yes.
Okay. So, anything you'd like to say to our viewing audience?
No, I just get involved, get out there. If theater's not your thing, please find something else. But get your kids involved. Get yourselves involved. You are always welcome at Easton Collaborative Theater. We would love to see you at our shows. We would love to answer all your questions, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Great. Well, I am so delighted that you had the time today to come and sit for this interview, and I know that the listening and viewing public has learned a great deal, and you are a very articulate and person with so much information.
Oh, thank you so much.
But the most important thing is your enthusiasm and your dedication and devotion to theater, but also to children. It really comes across that you love the kids.
I really, really do.
Yeah, and that your impact on their development has got to be huge, especially with the children whose needs are probably not met in the normal public schools, or who, with adults who aren't able or trained or have no experience dealing with the children. So everybody's welcome. So
definitely, always.
Right. So thank you again, Liana.
Thank you so very much for having me, Priscilla.
My pleasure, and obviously the pleasure of the viewing audience. Thank you, Liana Gorman, Director of the Easton Collaborative Theater. Stay well and keep doing what you're doing. You are such a wonderful asset to Easton and its cultural life. So we thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, listening and viewing audience at home. This is another segment of Community Forum. I hope you have enjoyed it as much as Liana and I have enjoyed presenting it to you. All the best. Until next time, be well.